That time of year again. The spooks are out. Those that bump in the night. It is Spooktober, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. You excited?
Yes.
Apparently we...
Listen no further. I now realize this is totally lame.
So, as you can tell, Hannah has shuffled off this mortal coil for this
Go
episode.
back!
She has stepped off the normal ethereal plane. She is currently in the spirit realm. We're using expert equipment to...
Remember me.
I mean, I don't think we can forget yet.
Swag.
What's going on, ladies?
Adieu. Adieu.
What's going on?
Remember me.
Any more?
Hamlet, I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night.
You just wanted to get that ghost line in, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, I did.
What's going
I'm
on?
here to whet thy almost blunted purpose. Okay, now I'm done.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the General Geekery podcast.
Woo!
This is, of course, the podcast where we love to geek out about all that we love to geek out about with no remorse.
No regret!
And with all of the enthusiasm in the world. As always, I am your resident coffee ninja by day, actor, gamer, and streamer by night, Donald Kaczynski, back once again. Joining me as always, she is our dice slinger extraordinaire, our artiste magnificent, and our resident video game inept. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Hannah Kubiak.
Hello.
And welcome back, once again, for the third year in a row we're doing this, to Spooktober.
Yes.
Da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
I'm so out of the loop that I actually did not know what we were talking about until I just sat down here.
Yeah, to be honest.
Just come here, sit down in my chair. I'm like, all right, what are we talking about?
So, there's a lot of stuff I've got coming up for Spooktober on the stream side of things. I'm going to be doing a playthrough in a series of one of my favorite games ever, the Resident Evil franchise.
Are you going to have guests?
I will absolutely bring on guests while I play through the stuff.
Sweet. You probably don't want that to be botched by an Inepticon hour or two, would you?
Oh, no, don't worry.
Just totally jank up your stats.
Oh, no. Hannah, I already have that penciled in, my friend.
Oh, okay, awesome.
I already have that penciled in. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But, yeah, in honor of getting ready for a monthly playthrough of one of my favorite game franchises ever, I figured, you know what? Let's go a little bit off, the scripted beaten path. Let's just geek out about horror genre video games. Because in terms of, creative viewing and what is... Many people consider, some of, the best, watching people play through things of all time. People love watching people play through horror games.
Yeah. What is it that, what's the one that you and Zach played a while ago? Was it Bloodborne?
Yeah, Bloodborne kind of...
Okay.
It has horror elements mixed in because it mixes H.P. Lovecraftian...
okay, that's the one that had that really, really, really cool, commercial for it, a preview, where that dude, sprouted tentacles from his face and became, an illithid.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Bloodborne is a Dark Souls esque game.
Gotcha.
That it's more RPG-esque, but it involves more horror elements than Dark Souls did. So it has that horror kind of atmosphere, but
Gotcha.
It still works really, really well.
I mean, I found the commercial terrifying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you guys want to see me play through Bloodborne, if you get me to 400 followers on Twitch, I will start a playthrough of it.
Oh, I'm already following you.
Yeah,
I can't help you.
So yeah, just throwing it out there. We hit 400 followers. I play Bloodborne. So
right, yes.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Woo.
I'm usually not a player of Souls games. My brother Zach's normally the one that plays them. So and I just watched him play through all of it. It was just so much fun to just watch him go through it all.
Yeah. All right, so I know nothing about I know nothing about video games in general for the most part, but this this niche I have really no clue about. I know the names of some things.
Right.
Because I think we've talked about this before, but you're gonna have to explain to me different stuff and what is worth playing and why, and the different kinds of horror.
The different kinds of horror?
The different kinds of horror.
I see. Well, before we go into like that, let's relate this to like something that we can actually like draw inspiration from and like compare with, and that's horror movies.
Okay, all right.
So, for you, Hannah,
yes.
What do you like in horror films specifically? What is like the draw for you? For
me, honestly, it is, if there's gonna be a horror movie where I like, well, to put it crassly, if I give a fuck if these people survive, that's one. And then, secondly, I'm that kind of person who, if something is too, if it's too outrageous or over the top or something, if it's supposed to have that like gross out factor where it's just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm actually one of those people who I just start laughing because it takes me out of it, So
understandable.
That's why I really like when I was younger. My favorite director was Alfred Hitchcock. Like, that was the first director that I watched like tons of his stuff. So Alfred Hitchcock, they call him the master of suspense.
Yes.
And remember, the next scream you hear may be yours. So I am a little bit more fond of suspense rather than just like gore,
Okay.
And to care about the characters. So A Quiet Place is absolutely one of my favorite, not just one of my favorite like scary movies, but one of my favorite movies, period.
Okay. I do agree with that. We've had this discussion about Quiet Place before.
Because it's an interesting world as well. Like, a lot of the time, the horror movies is just like, oh, these people out in the woods. And like, oh, it's another people out in the woods. Or these people in a haunted mansion. Or, like, in their own house. The call is coming from inside the house. And you've got, like, a girl in her kitchen, and she's like, hello? And she, like, gets dragged underneath something. And it's like, yes, predictable. But, yeah, I like it when it has an interesting setting or an interesting premise. I think. I would say that I'm not sure who's going to give me crap for this, but I think that that movie 7 kind of went over that line a little bit, where at a certain point I was just kind of like, this is...
Oh, the one with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where I was just like, this is a little much, like, I'm not sure. I think it was the bit when the guy had to, like, cut off his own flesh and weigh it in a scale, or when they found that guy who was, like, strapped to the bed and he was all emaciated and had been there for, like, months.
Oh, yeah.
Or something. Yeah. I don't know. But... I
always jokingly told myself I found that movie to be, like, the precursor to the Saw franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think I'd have to watch it again, because I... Like, 7, because I watched it a while back. And there are things that I watched a while back that I watch it now, and I'm just kind of like, So
okay.
I found a lot of that stuff really sort of a little bit too outrageous and unbelievable at the time. But then I started researching serial killers and stuff, and I learned about this one guy who they called the Toy Box Killer, and it was terrifying. And it actually all happened.
Okay. So overall, what you would say is that for horror films that I think would translate into you enjoying like a horror video game would honestly be like strong narrative that is like built upon by characters and a good atmosphere, which horror movies need in order to be able to leave an impact.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Oh, man.
So...
This is like being on Bumble again. Find your match.
Well, I mean, it's perfectly, like... Horror movies and horror games, like, often have, like, that similar kind of, like, draw in that, like, no matter what, in horror in general, atmosphere is important. Can make or break a horror scenario.
The atmosphere is almost another character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's more important in video games because you're playing in the experience and immersed. If you are not immersed in the atmosphere of it, then something's not working. Something's not clicking for you personally.
Yeah.
Like even okay, I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
Since I was talking about Resident Evil, I'll take this as a moment to talk about it. So the Resident Evil series, that is produced by the game developer Capcom, is the first. The first Resident Evil in the 90s was the first game to coin the phrase survival horror.
Okay.
What this means is, it is a horror video game scenario where you basically have to make it through the end of the game. There are supplies and stuff like that to help you. Resident Evil, it's basically you're fighting against like zombies and mutated monsters.
Is this the thing where there was like this like fungus zombie or something?
That's Last of Us.
The Last of Us. Okay. Okay.
Last of Us takes a bit of inspiration from Resident Evil to an extent, but Last of Us is a different thing entirely.
I feel like this, like we talked about this or something similar, like in episode like 4 or 5 or something.
We talked about this a long...
Eons
we talked
ago.
about stuff like a long time ago, but I wanted to... We were being very broad on this, and I kind of wanted to single in on like the horror video games specifically.
Gotcha.
Because we've talked about like horror in board games before as well, but
yeah,
this is an entirely different thing. So in Resident Evil, you have to collect supplies in order to be able to move on, but the thing is, supplies are very limited in the game, and if you're not careful with your supplies, you will run out. I think Hannah found something funny.
I was trying to write. I was trying to find a list of our episodes, and I tried to type in general geekery, but it auto-corrected it to genital geekery.
Bro, I can't.
Oh,
I can't with you.
It wasn't even me. It was my phone, but I guess
phone. What in the world?
My phone actually at one point started. What was it? I once was trying to write to somebody about like. I was mentioning, I don't know, for the sake of the brevity of this story, I was saying something like, I saw a duck on the pond, and I wrote it like a couple of times, and it kept on autocorrecting it to, I saw a fuck on the pond. Like,
oh my.
It's like, I'm trying to tell my mom about a duck! Stop autocorrecting
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
Thanks, phone.
Yep, thanks, phone. You know me so well.
Oy vey, everybody. But yeah, that was like the first coined phrase of like survival horror, where the object of the game is basically survive until the end. Now that has branched off into like several other different subgenres and kinds of games. Some have gone a little bit more in like the shooter department. Some have gone a little bit more in like story-based, decision-based gaming, such as Until Dawn and the anthology that the House of Ashes has done. Okay. I recently came across that one watching other streamers' streams, and I love it. It seems really cool. But overall, that Resident Evil was one of the first ones to like coin like survival horror, where you're put in a scenario, you have a limited amount of stuff, and you just have to survive.
Right.
And there's a story. And you have the story like between all of it.
Gotcha.
Now, as games like advanced from the 1990s, obviously story-based gaming is a little bit more important
Yeah.
But with horror, like, it also depends on the scares as well. There's actually one from the GameCube era, Nintendo GameCube era, that I find very interesting, and that is Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. Mm-hmm. The things with horror games, sometimes they need to sell it on gimmicks. Mm-hmm. Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem does a thing in-game where you have a sanity meter, and as your sanity goes, certain things will like happen in-game that also affects you in the real life.
Oh, there's this computer game that I've been playing with my sister called Don't Starve, where it's got something kind of like that.
Okay.
We have to make sure that you don't starve. We have to make sure that you don't like get killed by being like attacked by spiders and wolves and things, and then you have to make sure you don't go insane.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, go on.
No, you're fine. Mm-hmm. But how it affects you, like in real time outside of game, is that what it will do, it will simulate the volume on your TV going down and actually have like a volume bar of it going down.
Ugh.
And it'll make you like check like your remote and stuff like that, and then something might happen like on screen that'll like, affect you. It'll fake the game being crashed and starting up something like completely different.
What on earth?
Yeah. It was honestly kind of ingenious at the time.
Yeah.
Especially for like early 2000s. It messed up a lot of us that played it. I had the chance to play it during a during one of the extra life sessions for charity that I did back when I was in college. We were locked in my college's student union overnight, and we were playing video games. And it was around like the 12-hour mark that we did that. And also people had other like horror games going on with that right now, and they had a bunch of different things. They had an entire station like set up on like a big projector screen of people playing Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh gosh.
People that had no idea what they were doing, just reacting to it, and then for everyone there, all the fun stopped when someone played that knew what they were doing, and the excitement ended and everyone dispersed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the main draws of like watching horror games, is that people want to see the reactions of people that have never gone through it before and don't know what to do. Like if they get scared, they freak out. I mean, I have 2 entire playthroughs recorded and posted on my YouTube channel of like me going through several different horror games, including Resident Evil stuff, and some of my freak out moments have been legendary. I know you've seen one of them.
Was it the one to break glass in case of emergency?
Yes, the one where the liquor monster came in through the window.
That was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
It was too perfect.
It was like, well, it's emergency, and oh man. Oh man. Yeah, that's one of the games I have voted by my community to see if they want me to either replay that or try a different game in the series. So cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I like that idea.
And the best thing about them is like the horror games like take a bunch of different perspectives. Now, generally there's like 3 different ways because how games are designed. Horror games can either go in the fixed camera route.
Gotcha.
Where the camera is automatically set in a specific space, and as you traverse through the game, it like moves and your character moves along with it.
Right, like you can see the whole character walking along.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You have the third-person perspective, or over-the-shoulder perspective, where your character is, like, right here, and then your point of view is, like, right over, like, their, like, right or left shoulder.
Oh, so you can see kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, so it's almost first-person perspective, but not first-person perspective.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have first-person perspective, which in some horror games that, where jump scares are plenty,
yeah.
people usually like those. One famous example is Outlast.
Okay.
Where basically you take on the role of a reporter that has to record and find information about like shady dealings in an abandoned insane asylum.
Insane asylum?
If I can get my hands on that, I will absolutely have you and me play that.
Creepiest damn things. Like, asylums and circuses are, like, two like most creepy places I can imagine.
Third one for you would probably be amusement parks.
Yeah, I kind of put circus and amusement park kind of in the same place.
Well, the thing is, at a circus, you don't have a chance of possibly getting chased down by a roller coaster.
I guess that's true. Yeah, it's more like a show. So yeah, I would say a haunted amusement park. What was that movie with Nicolas Cage in the like Chuck E. Cheese like place? Wally's or something.
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I was having a conversation with...
those kind of places creep me out too. The ones with like skee ball and the crane games and everything is sticky and there are tickets all over the place. And
to be fair, I think that movie is actually partially, if I'm not mistaken, I think that movie's partially inspired by the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Okay, gotcha.
Because the Five Nights at Freddy's games, at least in terms of the first one, the goal is to survive 5 nights at Freddy's. Freddy's Pizza being like a in-game version of Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
So basically, you work as like a nighttime security guard, just keeping an eye on, in a control room, just keeping an eye on stuff. Except the animatronics come to life.
Right. Yeah.
And they try to hunt you down and get into the room and try to kill you, and stuff you into an animatronic suit.
Yes.
Suddenly, you are the animatronic.
Oh, and you become part of the the collection or whatever. Oh, that's creepy. Yeah.
So that's like one version of like the first person perspective, that you're stationary, but you have all this happen around you and you have no control over it. Alternatively, you have first person perspective games where you're moving around and you have some control over like your fate, such as Outlast and also Resident Evil 7 and 8, because the Resident Evil series has been experimenting with like multiple different perspectives, and the first person perspective they started with Resident Evil 7, where your main character is trying to find his missing wife that has been missing for years, and apparently she ended up in a abandoned family farmhouse in the swamp bayou of Louisiana by the Baker family.
Oh goodness.
Welcome to the family, son.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
So Petra's relatives then.
It's pretty nutty.
My cousin Daryl hunts for logs in the creek.
It's all fun and games until you figure out that the nice farm family are cannibals.
That's always what happens, though, isn't it?
Every single time,
I swear. Every single time. You got a pretty mouth.
just when you think that the nice old people that live by themselves, away from society, are nice, you figure out that they're cannibals.
Yep.
Thanks, Book of Eli.
Oh my gosh, I was just about to say, thanks, Book of Eli.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Love that movie. That
movie I watched like 4 times in 1 month for some reason, just because everywhere I went, like, someone was like, you know what I've been wanting to see is the Book of Eli. I haven't seen it yet. And I'm like...
So it was always on TV for a time.
Yeah. It was pretty good, too.
Yeah, it was...
I enjoyed it.
Nothing too far incredible, but it was entertaining. It was good. But... yeah, each of the horror games have, like, different... ways that people can scare you, and with the introduction in gaming in recent years with VR headsets and VR technologies, first-person experiences have been enhanced.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain, like, games that are developed with the VR headset in mind. They're not story-driven. They just offer, like, a horror experience.
Yeah.
Like, you enter into, like, you'll walk through a... paranormal like mansion where a random entity is chasing after to try to kill you. You go through like an abandoned carnival, like into like a haunted funhouse of mirrors or something.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Clowns.
Wait. Just imagine if the kids from It, instead of forgetting everything, they just wrote down in a diary somewhere, oh my god, the killer clown, the fucking killer clown, please never forget the killer clown, the killer clown!
Why it always have to be clean?
Because we all float down here, Hannah. And you will, too. Sorry, I had to harness Tim Curry's Pennywise.
That was a creepy movie. I enjoyed that.
Wait, the original 90s one or the remake?
The remake. I saw that one.
I love the remake so much, too.
Let's see. That movie, that Jordan Peele movie, Us, is probably another of my favorite scary movies.
Yeah, that one's a really good one.
Yeah, I love it. Ugh.
Body Snatchers vibe.
Yeah,
Always.
It's so creepy, and it's like, it's not even, it's not like super scary, like blood streaming, running around, that kind of thing. Although it becomes like that, but it's just kind of, it's eerie.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and what is her name? Lupita Nyong'o.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's so creepy. Like the voice that she did for the person for the underground person, where it just, for whatever reason, it's just a little bit off. I think that's one of the things that makes horror for me, is when something is just a little bit off. It doesn't really scare you, it just kind of unsettles you.
Right.
You know?
It usually depends on the atmosphere. I have not played this game yet, but this one that I really want to try, and it's from a series that I love, and I think you'll love it too. Alien Isolation.
Oh, you know what? Is that? I think I've played that before.
I haven't yet. The thing is, space mixes very well with horror.
Yes.
And it translates very well into, like, the video game setting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like darkness and...
Like, silence in space.
Silence, isolation, all horror things.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And, Alien Isolation basically has you take, the helm of, Ripley's daughter, Amanda, where apparently they found the recorder from the Nostromo from the first Alien, but now you're in the nightmare of dealing with the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were not, like, enamored by its story, but, like, the gameplay and how it's set up, like, the environment of horror, a lot of people really love that game, and it was just so unfortunate that we never got a sequel to it. And I still really want to play it. Once I upgrade my PC setup, that's like one of the first games that's like on the list that I want to play.
Have you seen The Conjuring at all?
Yes, I have.
Okay, those are other ones that I really enjoy. 'Cause like, those ones, so a lot of the time, you know, a lot of the time I find that when people bring, like, religious elements into a story, they usually don't really get it right, you know? Like, It's just kind of like, they treat the anomaly as though it's a norm, where, like, they're like, oh yeah, every priest is a creepy pedophile, you know? Like, I don't know, that kind of bothers me, because I'm like, well, no.
But then you get like the game, but then you get like the religious cults and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then there's also cults, and then it's like, why? How come whenever you have a like religious group or religious people, or someone visits a church in a movie, particularly a horror movie, why is it always like the people are all like kind of creepy pod people hicks, where they're like, oh, praise the Lord, you know, like what? And
because they only saw the first season of Castlevania.
Yeah, I guess so. And so that kind of stuff, where people kind of look at just what they don't like about the Catholic Church, for instance. And I thought that The Conjuring did a pretty good job of, like, sort of making that a part of it, and letting people know that, like, there is such a thing, like the devil exists, you know, first of all, and possession happens, but something can be done about it, you know. Like, I read this book, it was called An Exorcist Tells His Story, and it was by this guy who was he was like the exorcist in Rome for a long time, and he just like wrote everything that he had done and like all his experiences and stuff, and like I was reading it, and when I was like, I don't know if I want to read this book, it's probably gonna freak me out, but by the time I finished reading it, I was like, you know what, like, this is actually kind of reassured me, you know. It's like, it's not like you know, like stuff can be done if you happen to come under the influence of some evil you can't explain.
Right,
like,
right.
It's like, sure, these things are real, but also you're not completely helpless. So that was a really, really roundabout way of saying I really enjoyed The Conjuring, and I enjoyed how it acknowledged how badass the Catholic Church can be.
Yeah, that is kind of a trope that like often showcases itself like in anything horror, is just like the religious fanatic,
yeah,
trope.
They do exist, but I would say that they're not as common as you would be led to believe.
Oh no, they're not as common, but but it's also part of that can also like sell a game at times.
No,
so.
yeah, exactly. There is a place for it, but I don't know. You can kind of tell when it's for the story and when it's because somebody went to Catholic school as a kid and hated it. You know.
well, more often than not, it's mostly a story and not like.
Yeah.
Not meant for like malicious and stuff like that. Like, I honestly have not played a game that spoke ill like of religion. Just basically effed up, organized cult-like religions.
Yeah.
I mean, Resident Evil, in one of those games, like, there's an entire cult-like religion that's basically built around like an alien-like parasite that grows out of people's heads.
Yep.
It's weird.
That tracks.
Resident Evil's wild, man. I can't wait to get back in that series. But, so, I guess, like, what I would think, now, gonna pick your brain here again for a second.
Okay.
If we were to put you, like, if we were to sit you down and have you play a horror game for an Epticon, I'm gonna have you play a horror game for an Epticon. I'm just gonna get that right out of the way. Would you much rather find yourself in a situation where you're more in control and you can fight back, or not as much as in control and you can only just like flee?
Oh, fight back, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's a time and a place for fleeing.
You just want to stand your ground and just
no flight, just fight.
That should be on a t-shirt.
No flight, just fight.
No flight, just fight. Shotgun in hand.
Yep.
Oh man, you were gonna
like the end of The Quiet Place.
Yes. I can't wait for what I got planned for an Epticon for you. So it's gonna be exciting.
Oh, I am excited.
But
I'm actually watching a horror movie tonight with my best friend.
Oh, what are you watching tonight?
Yeah. We are going to try and do a watch party because she lives in Michigan. We're going to try and watch that movie, The Lamb.
Oh.
About I don't know. She just gave me a summary of it. Like, she called me when I was on my way over here, actually, and she was like, "Hey, you want to watch this movie with me? It's about this." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." She seemed really excited about it. It's about like something is like these people find a child. I don't know if they adopt him or what, but there's something off about him. I'm like, ooh, that sounds great.
Gotcha.
Oh man, it's gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna like see the children I work with everywhere in this movie.
Oh no.
Just like did I ever tell you Oh, you've seen some Key and Peele stuff, right?
Yeah.
You saw the one about the little kid with the Make-A-Wish Foundation who he had just had all these really creepy wishes that he wanted to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I wish to drown a man. What? I wish to drown a man. To hold his head underwater and watch as his life leaves his body.
I'll go a little bit further. I'll go a little bit further back in like the Key and Peele timeline for you. I remember like their contributions to like Mad TV era, which was like a sketch comedy show that was somewhere like Saturday Night Live at the time. One of the cast members on there, I think his name was like Michael McDonald or something like that. Played this constant. It was like a reoccurring character where he was basically playing like a little boy that was very soft spoken and stepped high like this, but but was basically like a devil.
Yep.
He was like he was like a double problem child.
There actually was a line in that Key and Peele where the guy's like, "You are a devil child." I wish to pee in your mouth. What? I wish to pee in both your mouths.
There's actually one film that I'm going to be watching pretty soon with my coworkers. It's a Japanese horror film called House.
Oh.
It is one of the silliest horror films ever. Let me put it this way. This is one of the theatrical trailer posters of this.
It's like Ghost Cat.
Yeah.
Did you ever... I never saw the movie, but it was like Elliot Page's first movie was The Ghost Cat. And that's so funny. Oh.
So, yeah, there's gonna be like a lot of like horror film, like a lot of Spooktober, like classic stuff that I'm gonna be doing this month more than normal. Horror films, horror gaming, and a lot of stuff. And
I want to watch The Conjuring again. I feel like we talked about The Conjuring, didn't we?
I feel like we have.
I think I mentioned it. I think I had just watched all of them, so I was like, see. I have a brain that's only like this big and it gets stuffed with something and then when it's no longer relevant it goes away. So like I listened to old episodes and I'm like, I knew a lot about this at the time.
You know what?
What?
I'll say it right now just so we have it on recording. I'll give you a challenge on this. How about for like a mini-sode that we'll do for the Patreon and then we'll release it at the end of the month. Let us come up with our top 5 or top 10 favorite horror movies.
Okay.
Like, any that left an impact on us.
Okay.
We'll reconvene. And we'll chat about them shortly. And try to recommend them to the other person.
Yes, let's do it.
Shake on it?
Okay.
Yes. We have shooken on it.
Yes. You have small hands.
I do? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
For
my small hands, my strong hands.
for those that were interested in what we were doing the Tarzan Jane thing, like comparing hands.
No, it was the structure thing.
There we go.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
The Wrath of Khan thing.
Or the one. Yeah.
Khan!
Khan!
But
remember. It comes full circle.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah, the 2022 Spooktober is going to be a wild and interesting ride, guys. Like, there's so much going on. I have plans for both stream and for General Geekery on here. I am so excited. Fall is my favorite season of the year, and October is one of my favorite months of the year just because I am a horror fanatic. I love everything about it. And I'm ready to dedicate Spooktober to some horror games. I'm so ready to bring you into this world, Hannah.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
I can hide it, but
no.
You can't.
I'm a little kid. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At least I won't give you.
I keep all my emotions right here, and then one day I'll die.
Don't do that. I will cry the day you die if that happens.
No, I'm gonna outlive you by like 50 years, man.
Damn. Wow.
Oh yeah. When I am old and old and old, people will describe me as scary beyond all reason and prehistoric in nature. It's in my blood. It's in the bones.
I am deceased.
My hearty, small Irish bones.
I see.
Yep.
So I'm curious what you guys in the audience think. What kind of horror games do you guys think that Hannah would enjoy more? Any particular titles? Let us know wherever comments are found on the Spreaker, the Spotify, the YouTube, anywhere podcasts can be found that we go to. If you guys like what you've been listening to here on the podcast, make sure to follow us on all of our social media, on Twitter at GenGeekPodcast and on Instagram at General Geekery. You guys can also find us rolling dice over at Loaded Dice Adventures on twitch.tv/Loaded Dice Adventures. Corsairs is going through a little bit of a cast reshuffling at the moment, but we should be back up and at 'em sooner rather than later.
Yep.
And I'm super excited because my brother's joining us, and I've never played a D&D campaign with him, and I'm actually so happy I finally get to play with him.
That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be fun.
You get to deal with my brother as well as me now.
Oh gosh.
You're getting a double dose of Kaczynski headache.
Lord, why?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. No.
And if you guys,
I'm very difficult to annoy, as you know.
And if you guys want to support the show in any way, shape, or form and find some more exclusive content, we're going to be doing some more of that throughout October. I have several different articles planned. You guys can check out our Ko-fi page and our Patreon page, links of which are in the description of this episode. So please go check them out, and if you so wish to give us a generous donation, we appreciate thy coin. And that's pretty much going to be it. This has been episode 2 of season 2 of General Geekery, all about horror video games. Thank you guys for joining us. Hannah, I hope you are excited for what I've got planned for you for Spooktober.
Yep. I am excited.
Stay tuned, guys. Until next time, for Hannah, I'm Donald. Take care, guys, and always remember to keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink, clink. Bye, guys.